What you think, buddy? Huh? What you think? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. It is your favorite warlock, practicing necromancer, and you gotta lower this down for a sec. The Prince T-Bone, Ademir Tybon in Arabic. See, my little buddy here wanted some time with daddy, so guess what? I got three of them on the bed. I got Harley, my baby girl herself, Bella. So I've been doing cartomancy readings this morning because of the fact that I think and feel it is a right time to do this stuff. It's a time where you're supposed to be thanking the spirits that you work with, the people in your life, and kind of being thankful and grateful for the things that you have. I find that a lot of times people tend to delve further into the negative than to actually take that step back and look at is a very good thing. It helps you to determine your next course of actions. But it also helps to reflect upon the things that you've done and accomplished, not just where to go from here. Maybe it's because you're in a hindrance of some kind, some kind of stagnation and not sure where to go. Maybe it's because of the fact that you're looking for that next step and you're just not sure how to proceed. Either way, cartomancy is a very, very good tool that I do recommend to people. And when I do cartomancy readings, I normally do about 6 to 12 different draws, okay, different placets, if you will, because of the fact that you look for the commonalities. You look for the cards that continuously come up. You take note of how many times these cards come up. You look at the depictions on them from, say, for an example, the colors, the astrological symbols, and you look at the animals. Are there chimeras? Are there ravens? Um, are there flowers? Are there tombstones? Are there, how many different symbolic, emblems are on the cards? So, as a necromancer, I like using the vampiric card, the vampiric decks because of the fact that these allow me to connect with the spirits, the ancestors. But at the same time, they allow me to connect to those deities and to the demons that I work with. And like I said, today is a day that you give thanks to them for helping you through all the challenges, the turmoils, the tribulations, the trials that you have faced thus far in your career, or I should say, your journey into magic. So, I'm just going to do a simple 3-card read for you today. And I thought maybe this will speak to some of you. The first card is the Hierophant. Okay? The Hierophant is a very beautiful card. It doesn't just deal with solidarity, it deals with power. It deals with reflection, being comfortable with who you are, what you admit is a path of solidarity. This is where most practitioners go to begin their journey, to master all aspects of witchcraft and sorcery, not just getting into supernatural uh, root workings. Okay, you got to remember that we as practitioners are the microcosm, the little god, and we inspire to be the big god. Okay, the big god, meaning the macrocosm. Now, I want you to take a look at this card. Okay, you see the robed figure on a throne compared to this little person right here on her knees. Okay, this card deals not only with the five elements and the five pillars that you will face, that you have to deal with to master yourself. Excuse me for just a minute. Everett, go watch your TV show or I'm going to turn it off. Okay. Thank you, buddy. I apologize. My son is here with me. He spent the night last night. So, anyways, as I was saying, it deals with the five pillars of the self. Okay? Remember that witchcraft is about self mastery, Satanism is about self mastery. The African Caribbean traditions are about self mastery. Okay? All traditions are about you and your spirituality, but it's about your self mastery to the point where you evolve through your practices into something more like a fiend. Okay. Now, what's interesting to note is that you're also dealing with a triangle of evocation. If you look right here, you have the five pillars, and right, sorry, it's over here. You see where the pentagram is, the triangle of evocation, and then the chains. It's about binding yourself to the power. Okay, when you work in witchcraft long enough, you begin in a journey of self deification. You're looking at fire being passion, anger, rage, driven by passions, desires. This would be the abyssal accumulation of who and what you are about. Okay? This is where you're controlling your mind because instead of your mind being the forefront, you're being led by your heart. You're being led by your chakra of the heart. You are being driven by emotion. And that's the thing about fire is because it deals with emotion. It deals with all the frustrations, the feelings that you have on your journey. And when you're able to humble yourself, and I'm going to give you a couple examples here. Going before the throne, if you will, if we go into the book of Kings by tell you that they have to put their blessing upon you, okay? They have to place their blessing upon you so that you can move on to the next throne, okay? And each one getting darker and darker until you get to Baal, okay? The Lord himself, Baal, okay? Now, what's interesting to note here is that when you go before the throne, you're giving credit to that particular entity who sits on that throne. Even if we go into, say, biblical aspects, let's go into the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John for just an example. Jesus, the man, Jesus, okay, he is sitting on a chair, surrounded by other elders. This woman comes in to this room and she washes his feet. The others just look at her and see her as a whore, a somebody who's not worthy to be in their presence. But he sits there and he says, basically, and I'm going to use my own terms here, my own words, is she humbled herself to the point where she's willing to wash his feet with oil, with oil, meaning olive oil. Okay. And here we see the woman bowing, literally on her knees, with her head looking down. This is a form of humbleism, but it's also a form of respect. So when we get a card like this, it most likely represents your job. It deals with your position in your household, your family stature. Okay, and this is something that you see where you are somebody of wisdom that people rely on, but at the same time, you yourself have to go before. Prime example: T-Bone chasing after his sister. But anyways, you have to look at it from a perspective of you serve the community, but you serve yourself too. So it's that give and take process. And when you're in a job setting, you're looking to move up into the structure. You want to get up into a hierarchy. And I'm going to give you an example right here. I hadn't even thought about moving up in Duncan. Okay, I just started working for Duncan again back on Monday. Okay, just a few days ago, and it was interesting because my second to third day on the job. Okay, it was actually my second day, which was Tuesday. The district manager texts me and he says, just like he did the day before, thank you for what you did. You did a good job today. Okay. Number one, this man is in a power, full position here. He's a district manager and he's reaching out to a team member saying, you did an awesome job today. Thank you. That's, it's nice to hear from somebody higher up in the food chain. But here it is. Second day, messaged me and he says, good job today. I said, thank you, sir. He says, maybe someday you'll be team lead. You see what I mean? Humbleism, but also authority. You got to remember what we do as practitioners. It is about power, but it's also about humbleism. Okay? The give and take. Macro, micro. Okay? The second is the Queen of Skulls. Magnificent beauty. Magnificent beauty. Okay? Again, the pentagram. But you've also got the wolf. Now, what's interesting is the wolf, the black dog, has been associated with the Bucharest, the hellhound. Okay? The witch is familiar. Okay? So you got all this symbolism wrapped up right here, not just the skulls. Okay? Because skulls are the gateway, they are the portal to the spiritual realm. So this tells me that we are working within the spiritual nexus here. This reading is about that spiritual connection, okay? And it's interesting because of the fact that even in Wudan, the Boko, the Caplata, the bad guys, so to speak, the ones that are looked down upon, are more powerful than the Hungan or Mambo. Why? Because they're not bound by falsicities. They know that they're working with the Rada or the Petro spirits. And if you're not by lineage or by blood, then you're serving the Gadi family of Loa. Okay, so you're really if you come from a family lineage, your magic is going to be far more potent than somebody who's just getting into Wudan and working with the Loa. Okay, so you're working with your ancestors, just like in Santeria, Pedro Mayumbi or Monty for that matter, Quimbanda. Okay, so you're not just working with these gods, like the demons or the jinn, you know, the angelics. You're working with the spirits of your ancestors. You're working with these spirits. And the thing about the beauty of the queen is number one, she has the authority. Again, you're seeing that authority. You're seeing the beauty of it, but you're seeing the wisdom behind it. The wisdom is what you need to be seeking. The wisdom is what is going to discern success or failure. Okay. And what's interesting is the very next one is we're going into the magic. We're going into the actual practices here. And that is the Eight of Scepters. Okay. The Eight of Scepters. Now you notice the cross on here. A lot of witches today, they go by the Judeo Christian perspectives. But a lot of people don't realize that crosses predate Christian culture. It is actually alchemical, to be precise. But scepters are the spiritual aspects here. So again, we're not just dealing with the spirits of our ancestors. No, we're actually going into the spiritual workings. I want you to take a look at these cards one more time. Who has the authority? The servant or the master? Who has the authority? The beauty and the wisdom. The spiritual, dealing with the tools of the trait. Remember, that's astral projection, remote viewing, and projection itself. Those are the three most basic identifying marks of spiritualism. Okay? And what's interesting is when we get to a certain understanding, it's not just the level of practice that we go into. We're most likely going to make ourselves targets, either by family or by friends or by, say, for an example, enemies. It could be in the workplace, even. And that's the ironic part. So you have to be prepared to discern how you're going to proceed, how you, as the practitioner, is going to perform workings to better yourself. Okay? Think about it like this. Would you curse somebody into damnation to get a higher position in your workplace? Or would you use a jinx to give them bad luck so that they constantly mess up? Okay? Tools of the trade, right? You, as a black magician, a sorcerer, a warlock, a witch, a necromancer, you have that power within you to link a spell to give your opponent bad luck. You don't have to sit there and curse them right off the bat, no. But if they become a threat, you may have to teach them a lesson, which is why you have another tool of the trade known as hexcraft. Hexing somebody is a way to teach them a lesson without it becoming fatal. Okay? Fatalism is only last ditch effort, whereas cursing is just simply elimination. Okay? So you could even go into alchemy and go into herbalism. Utilizing a griscus bag, you can use, say, let's go with amber, basil, thyme. Let's go with parsley and sea salt. And then you have a potent mixture that you can carry with you to get a bigger paycheck. So you see, knowing the tools of the trade, it's not just the physical that you're dealing with, but also the spiritual. So this reading is really about the physical applications, but it's also about the spiritual. So a lot of people will look at the person on the throne and say, well, they have authority. No, that is a false illusion because the person on the other end of that spectrum is the one in the true power. Why? Because it is easy to play the fool. By playing the fool, you gain insight, wisdom, and knowledge that would be hindered and hid from you. And that's the ironic part. That's the ironic part, the uncanniness of it. Because of the fact that people will treat you as a joke. I can't tell you how many times I've been on the job where people thought what I do as a practitioner of witchcraft, sorcery, Satanism, voodoo, palo, santeria, druidism. They treat me like a joke. And that's okay with me because I learned about them. They talk, they tell me things. You'd be surprised. Right here, the authority. So I want you to reflect today. I want you to give thanks for all to those spirits, to those demons, to the people who have gotten you where you are today. Give them credit. Give them the offerings and the sacrifices. Give them libations. Give them recognition. Why? Because without them, you would not be where you are today. And I want you to think about this because of the fact that you have the power, you have the authority, the beauty, and the wisdom because of all those who have stood either against you or with you. That's just the way it is. But I want you to think about one thing. And this is what I want you to think about. When people come and go in your life, what is it that is always there? Your faith, your practices, and the spirits that you work with. They're always there to help you. This is why I say give them their due. You'll be better off for it. But also look at what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish. You may have to go into the physical. You may have to appear the fool to come out the victor on the other side. Or you may have to go into the spiritual to get that ball rolling. Look at what you're trying to do. My experience is not your experience. It's up to you. All right. Add to my, what was it? Adam 2. The ones in the eyes look a lot alike. So I do apologize. But thanks for jumping on here with me, my friend. All right. I got to go get my son ready to go with his mom. So, all right. Thanks for jumping on here with me. I hope this helps. And remember that without the servants, you cannot be a master. So who has the power? The master or the servant? Even in the Bible says you can't serve two masters. It's ironic, right? God and mammon, good and evil, light and dark. You have to choose one or the other. I say, why do that? I look at the tools, I look at the practices, I look at the need. What do you need? And that's what you need to do. All right? Have a good one.